Picture this. It's a Tuesday evening. Not a Friday when you're relaxed, not a Monday when you're ready to conquer the world. It's Tuesday, the middle of nowhere. You've just finished dinner. You load the dishwasher, press start, and walk away. 30 minutes later, you walk into the kitchen and find water everywhere. Not a little spill, a lake. Your cheap laminate flooring is starting to warp at the seams, bubbling up like a horror movie effect. You panic. You grab every towel you own. You're on your hands and knees, soaking wet at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday. And then you face the reality: the dishwasher is dead. You call a repair guy. He shows up the next day, looks at it for 5 minutes, and says those words you dread: the pump is shot. Then he gives you the options. New dishwasher, $800 installed. Repairing this antique, $450, and it might die again next year. He shrugs. Your call. You open your banking app. You have $427 in your account. Rent is due in a week. Your stomach drops. So what do? You buy the $450 repair because it's cheaper today. You tell yourself it's the responsible choice. You're being practical. You're fixing what you have. That's what smart people do, right? Fast forward 6 months. The dishwasher dies again, but now the leak has been slowly, invisibly destroying the subfloor. You didn't see it. You couldn't. Now you have mold. The repair bill is $2,000. Plus you have to replace the floor. Plus you have to eat out for 2 weeks while the kitchen is torn apart. That $450 decision, made because you didn't have $800, just cost you over $2,000. Actually, when you add the lost wages from dealing with contractors and the restaurant meals, it's closer to $3,000. My name is Hamster, and I've spent the last decade studying the hidden mechanics of money, the ones they don't teach you in school because they'd rather you stay confused. I've interviewed people who went from zero to millions and people who went from 6 figures to bankruptcy. And I've found one pattern that repeats over and over. The cost of not having money is the most under-discussed financial force in the world. If you've ever felt like you're working harder than ever but getting nowhere, or if you've ever made a decision you knew was bad but felt like you had no choice, hit subscribe. Because today, we're not talking about getting rich quick. We're not talking about crypto or stocks or real estate hacking. We're talking about something more fundamental, more urgent, and more hidden. Why it costs so much to have so little. There's a concept from an unexpected source that explains the wealth gap better than any economics textbook I've ever read. Better than Piketty. Better than Marx. Better than anything you'll hear in a university lecture hall. It comes from a fantasy novel by Terry Pratchett, of all people, a book about cops and criminals in a fictional city called Ankh-Morpork. It's called the Sam Vimes Boots theory of socioeconomic unfairness. The theory is simple, devastatingly simple. Take 2 men, one is wealthy, one is poor, both need boots, it's raining. Their feet are wet. The wealthy man walks into a proper boot shop and spends $100 on a pair of high-quality leather boots. They're well-made, stitched properly, built to last by someone who learned their craft over decades. Those boots will keep his feet dry for the next 10 years, maybe longer. The poor man doesn't have $100, he has $20. That's all he can spare after rent and food, so he buys the cheap boots from a discount bin. They're made of cardboard and glue and hope. They look okay for a week. Then the soles start to flap. They last 1 winter before they disintegrate completely. Next year, he buys another $20 pair. The year after that, another. And another. Because what choice does he have? His feet are still wet. Over 10 years, the poor man has spent $200 on boots, double what the rich man spent. And yet, his feet are still wet. His toes are cold. He's paid more and gotten less. He's been cold for a decade. The rich man is dry, comfortable, and $100 richer. He also has the mental energy of not worrying about his feet. He can think about other things. He can plan. He can invest. This is the foundational math of financial struggle. It's not about lattes or avocado toast. It's not about discipline or willpower. It's about the fact that lack of capital forces you into bad decisions that cost more over time. And here's the part that really gets me. The poor man knows the cheap boots are a bad deal. He's not stupid. He can do the math. But math doesn't put food on the table today. Math doesn't create money that doesn't exist. He's trapped in a system where being poor means everything costs more, and the only way out requires money he doesn't have. Let's bring this into 2026. Let's talk about something as boring as toothpaste, because boring is where the real money leaks happen. Not the yacht, not the vacation, the toothpaste. If you have $30 in your pocket, you walk into Target or Walmart. You go to the dental aisle. You see the family-size pack of toothpaste, 3 tubes bundled together, maybe with a free toothbrush. It's on sale. Cost per ounce? Pennies. You do the math in your head, smile, and toss it in the cart. You're set for 6 months, maybe longer. If you have $4 in your pocket, you don't go to Target. Target is across town. You don't have a car or gas is too expensive. You walk to the corner store, the bodega, the convenience store on the corner. You go to the tiny travel size section because that's all you can afford. You buy the little tube, cost per ounce, astronomical. You're paying 3 times more for the same chemical compound. Now multiply this by everything, every single thing. Laundry detergent. The big jug at Costco costs $15 and lasts 3 months. The tiny bottle at the corner store costs $6 and lasts 2 weeks. Diapers, especially diapers. The bulk box at the warehouse club costs $40 and covers a month. The small pack at the drugstore costs $15 and covers 4 days. Toilet paper. The 24-pack at the supermarket costs $20 and lasts forever. The 4-pack at the bodega costs $8 and is gone in a week. Shampoo, rice, beans, canned vegetables, cleaning supplies, pet food, coffee. This is called the poverty premium. It's a tax on being broke, and it applies to almost every physical good you buy. The poorer you are, the more you pay for the exact same items. Here's the kicker, the part that should make you angry. The person buying the tiny toothpaste knows it's a bad deal. They're not stupid. They can read the price tag. They can do the division in their head. They know they're getting ripped off, but they don't have the $15 to buy the big pack. They have $4, and they need toothpaste today. They're trapped in a system where being poor means everything costs more, and the only way to stop paying more is to have money, which they can't save because they're paying more for everything. It's a circular trap, a mathematical prison, and the bars are made of compound interest working against you instead of for you. Now let's move from the grocery store to the bank. This is where the math gets genuinely predatory. This is where the system stops being indifferent and starts being actively hostile. If you have $10,000 in your checking account, the bank loves you. You get a personal banker who calls you by name. No monthly fees, free checks, maybe even a tiny interest payment, 0.01%, but hey, it's something. You're a VIP. They send you offers for premium credit cards with rewards points. They want you to stay. If you have $20 in your account, you're not a customer. You're a product. You're a revenue stream. You forgot about a $5 subscription, a streaming service you signed up for months ago and never canceled. It hits your account at 2 a.m. You're now negative $5. The bank charges you a $35 overdraft fee. Then, because you're negative, any other transactions that try to process get hit with more fees. By morning, you owe the bank $100. You effectively borrowed $5 for one day. It cost you $35. That's an interest rate of 7,000%. Let me say that again, 7,000%. If a loan shark did that, they'd go to jail. If a mobster broke your kneecaps for $35, it would be a news story. When a bank does it, it's called standard policy. It's in the fine print. It's legal. It's normalized. Last year alone, American banks made over $9 billion in overdraft fees. Not profit from the investments, not interest from mortgages, pure fees for punishing people who don't have money. And here's the dirty secret. The one the banks don't want you to know. The vast majority of those fees, something like 80%, came from accounts with less than $1,000 in them. The people who can least afford it are subsidizing the banking system for everyone else. They're paying for the marble floors and the personal bankers and the free checking for the rich. The check cashing trap. But it gets worse because not everyone even has a bank account. If you don't have a bank account, and according to the FDIC, millions of American households are unbanked or underbanked, you go to a check cashing store, you cash your paycheck, and they take 3% to 5% just for the privilege of giving you your own money. A $1,000 paycheck costs you $50 to access. Then you need to pay your rent. The landlord doesn't take cash, or you don't want to carry cash, so you buy a money order. Another fee, you need to pay your electric bill. Money order, another fee, you need a short-term loan because your car broke down. Payday lending at 400% APR. You need to wire money to a family member. Wire transfer fee. Everything has a fee. The less money you have, the more you pay to access and move your own money. It's a toll booth on every financial transaction. It's a tax on poverty. In most of America, a car isn't a luxury. It's a necessity. It's infrastructure. You need it to get to work to make money to pay for the car. You need it to get groceries. You need it to take your kids to school. You need it to live. This is where the Boots theory shifts into overdrive. This is where the poverty premium becomes a poverty chasm. Scenario A, the person with capital. You have good credit. You have $5,000 saved for a down payment. You walk into a reputable dealership, or better yet, you buy private party from someone who took care of their car. You buy a reliable 3-year-old Toyota Corolla or Honda Civic for $18,000. You finance $13,000 at 4% interest. Your monthly payment is manageable. The car has low miles. It's been maintained. It will run for 200,000 miles with nothing but oil changes and basic maintenance. Over 10 years, you pay off the loan. You drive the car for another 5 years with minimal expenses. Total cost of ownership? Predictable, manageable. You own an asset that still has value. Scenario B, the person without capital. You have bad credit. You have no savings. You need a car to get to work to earn money to maybe fix your credit and maybe save something. You can't go to a normal dealership because they won't finance you. So you go to a buy here, pay here lot. The predatory dealerships in the rough part of town, the ones with the flashing lights and the aggressive radio ads. They sell you a high mileage clunker, a car that's 10 years old with 150,000 miles, a car that a normal dealership would wholesale for $4,000. They put a price tag of $10,000 on it because they can, because you have no options. Your credit is bad, so your interest rate is 22%. 22%. You're making $400 monthly payments on a car that's worth a fraction of what you're paying. Here's the cruel joke, the part that should make you furious. That $4,000 car with 150,000 miles, it's going to break down. Not maybe. Not if you're unlucky. Statistically, it's going to break down. The transmission will go, the engine will blow, something catastrophic will happen, likely before the loan is paid off. Now you're in the worst position possible. You're making $400 monthly payments on a dead car sitting in your driveway. You can't drive it. You can't sell it for enough to pay off the loan because you owe $18,000 on a car worth $4,000. You're underwater, deep underwater. And you still need a car to get to work. So you go back to the buy here, pay here lot. You finance another clunker. Now you have 2 car payments. You're drowning. This isn't bad luck. This is irresponsibility. This is the system working exactly as designed. The wealthy person paid $18,000 for a car they drove for a decade. The poor person paid $18,000 for a car they couldn't drive for half that time, and now they're trapped in a cycle of debt. And let's not forget insurance. If you have good credit and a clean driving record, you pay $80 a month for full coverage. If you have bad credit and that clunker, you pay $200 a month because statistically, you're riskier. Never mind that you're paying more because you have less. It's another poverty premium. Let's talk about the biggest expense most people have. Housing. The roof over your head. The place where you spend half your life. This is where the Boots theory becomes a Boots catastrophe. When you rent, you are paying 100% interest. You get zero equity. Zero. Every check you write is money you will never see again. You're paying your landlord's mortgage, their property taxes, their maintenance costs, their insurance, and their profit margin. You're building someone else's wealth with your labor. When you own, you're building equity. You're buying an asset that historically goes up in value over time. Your monthly payment might be similar, sometimes even lower, but part of it comes back to you eventually. You're paying yourself. But here's the trap. The poverty trap within the housing trap. To buy a house, you need a down payment. In most markets, that's $20,000, $30,000 or more. You need good credit. You need stable income. You need to have your life together. If you're paying 50% of your income in rent, which is increasingly common in major cities, how do you save $30,000? You can't. The math doesn't work. Every month, you pay $2,000 in rent. Every month, you fall further behind. Your landlord's mortgage might be $1,500. They're pocketing $500 of your labor every single month. That's $6,000 a year. Over 10 years, that's $60,000 flushed away. Money you'll never see. Money that could have been equity, money that could have been your children's college fund, money that could have been your retirement. You're paying a poor tax of $6,000 every single year just because you couldn't scrape together the down payment. Over 30 years, if you rent your whole life, you could easily pay $700,000 or more for housing and have nothing to show for it. Meanwhile, the person who bought a house 30 years ago has a paid-off asset worth maybe $1 million. The security deposit trap. And let's talk about security deposits. When you rent, you need first month, last month, and a security deposit just to move in. That's thousands of dollars up front. Money that sits in the landlord's bank account, earning interest for them while you get nothing. And when you move out, good luck getting it all back. There's always a reason to keep some of it. A scratch on the wall, a carpet that's worn, more money drained from your pocket. We've talked about money, we've talked about debt, but there's another tax that's even more insidious, even more draining, because it steals something you can never get back. The tax on your time. The laundromat tax. If you have a washer and dryer in your home, doing laundry takes 5 minutes of active work. You throw the clothes in, you press start, you walk away, you read a book, you spend time with your kids, you work on your side hustle. 2 hours later, you come back, switch the clothes to the dryer, and walk away again. Total time invested? Negligible. The machine does the work. If you don't have a washer and dryer, you go to the laundromat. You haul your clothes there in bags or baskets. You find a machine that's free, you load it, you sit and wait. Because if you leave, someone might take your machine or steal your clothes. You watch the spin cycle, you read old magazines, you scroll your phone, then you move everything to the dryer, you wait again, then you fold, then you haul everything back home. 2 hours of your life, gone, every week. If you value your time at even minimum wage, $15 an hour, that's $30 worth of labor. You're effectively paying $30 to do laundry plus the $5 in quarters for the machines. The person with a washer and dryer pays pennies in electricity and detergent. Over a year, that's nearly $2,000 worth of time. Time you could have spent learning a new skill. Time you could have spent with your family. Time you could have spent resting so you're more productive at work. Time is money, and poverty steals your time. The food desert tax. Now, let's talk about food. If you live in a neighborhood with a real grocery store, fresh produce, fair prices, selection, you shop there. You walk in, you buy what you need, you walk out. 20 minutes. If you live in a food desert, and millions of Americans do, the nearest grocery store is miles away. You don't have a car, so you take 2 buses. Each way takes an hour. You spend 2 hours traveling, plus the shopping time. You pay $5 in bus fare. You can only carry what fits in 2 bags, so you have to shop more frequently, which means more bus fare, more time. The food itself costs more because the stores in low-income areas charge higher prices. The selection is worse. The produce is sad. The meat is low quality. You're paying more for less, and it's taking hours of your life. Need to renew your food stamps, your Medicaid, your disability benefits? You have to go to the government office during business hours. You take time off work. Unpaid because you don't have paid leave. You wait in line for hours, you fill out paperwork, you provide documents, you come back another day because something was missing. This is the darkest category, the most expensive, the one that can ruin your life permanently, because it's about your body, your health, the one thing you can't replace. The dental trap. A cavity starts small, a little sensitivity when you drink something cold. You know you should see a dentist, but you don't have insurance, or your insurance has a high deductible, or you just don't have $200 for the copay. So you ignore it. You chew on the other side, you take Advil when it hurts. Months pass, it starts to hurt more. Now it's a constant throb. You can't sleep, you can't concentrate at work. Finally, you can't take it anymore. You go to the dentist. Now it's not a filling, it's a root canal, it's a crown, it's $2,000. Or maybe it's too late, maybe the tooth can't be saved, now it's an extraction. You're missing a tooth, you can't afford an implant, so you just have a hole in your mouth. That $200 you didn't have cost you $2,000, and you lost a tooth. The prescription trap. You have a chronic condition, high blood pressure, diabetes, asthma. You need medication every day. With insurance, it's $10 a month. Without insurance, or with a high deductible, it's $200 a month. So you skip doses, you stretch the pills, you take them every other day instead of every day. The medication doesn't work properly, your blood pressure stays high, your blood sugar stays out of control. Eventually, you have a heart attack, a stroke, a diabetic crisis. You end up in the emergency room. The ER bill is $50,000. You can't pay it. It goes to collections. Your credit is destroyed. You can't get a loan. You can't rent an apartment. The cycle continues, worse than before. The system punishes you for being unable to pay for prevention. It rewards you for having money. It's a health tax, and it's deadly. The sleep tax. This one is psychological, but real. It's measurable. When you're constantly worried about money, how to pay the rent, how to fix the car, how to afford the medication, you don't sleep well. Your brain won't shut off. You wake up at 3 a.m. with your heart racing. Lack of sleep lowers your immune system. You get sick more often. You miss work. You lose wages. You fall further behind. Lack of sleep impairs your cognitive function. You make worse decisions at work. You're less productive. You might get fired. It's a cascade, a domino effect, and it all starts because you couldn't afford the $200 dentist visit 6 months ago, or the $50 medication, or the $500 car repair. I know this has been depressing. I know it feels like the system is rigged, and honestly, it is. But here's the thing. Understanding the trap is the first step to escaping it. Because once you see the math, once you see the patterns, you can start to fight back. The only weapon against the poverty premium is a buffer. That first $1,000 in savings isn't just money. It's not just a number in an app. It's a shield. It's armor. It's a thing that stands between you and the poverty trap. With $1,000 in the bank, a flat tire is an annoyance, not a crisis. You fix it, you move on. You can buy the bulk toilet paper, the big detergent, the family-size pack. You save money on every single purchase. You can pay the $200 dentist visit before it becomes a $2,000 root canal. You can say no to the payday lender. You can say no to the 400% interest. you have options. You can increase your insurance deductible, which lowers your monthly premium because you know you can cover the deductible if something happens. That $1,000 lowers your stress. Lower stress means better sleep. Better sleep means better health. Better health means fewer missed work days. Fewer missed work days means more income. More income means you can save more. It's a virtuous cycle. It's the opposite of the poverty cycle. And it all starts with that first $1,000. The psychological shift. But here's the thing. The buffer isn't just financial, it's psychological. It changes how you see the world. When you have a buffer, you stop making decisions from a place of fear. You stop taking the bad deal because you have no choice. You can wait, you can shop around, you can negotiate. The person without a buffer has to accept the first offer, the worst terms, because they need the money now. The person with a buffer can walk away. And the ability to walk away is the ultimate power in any transaction. So how do you do it? How do you build the buffer when you're stuck in the trap? When every dollar's already spoken for? When the poverty premium is bleeding you dry? It's not easy. I won't lie to you, but it is possible. Here's the strategy. Step 1. Audit the leaks. Look at every single expense from the last 3 months. Everyone. Not just the big ones, the rent, the car payment, but the small ones. The subscriptions, the convenience store purchases, the late fees, the overdrafts. Ask yourself one question for each expense. Is this a poverty premium? Am I paying more because I can't afford to pay up front? Identify the biggest bleed, the most expensive poverty premium in your life. Is it the 22% car loan? Is it the payday loan cycle? Is it the rent to own furniture with the insane interest rate? Is it the daily convenience store purchases? Find the biggest hole, that's your target. Step 2, the temporary hustle. This is where you have to get aggressive. For 1 month, maybe 2, you go into survival mode. You do whatever you can, legally and ethically, to generate extra cash. Sell stuff you don't need. Old clothes, electronics, furniture, every item you own that isn't essential is potential cash. Drive for Uber or DoorDash on weekends. Freelance if you have a skill. Writing, design, tutoring. Mow lawns in your neighborhood, babysit, pet sit, walk dogs. The goal is not to make a living. The goal is to raise $500 or $1,000 as fast as humanly possible. Short-term pain for long-term gain. Step 3. Plug the biggest hole. First, take that $500 or $1,000 and attack the most expensive poverty premium in your life. Don't spread it around. Don't try to do everything at once. Focus. Is it the car loan at 22%? Pay down the principal aggressively. Every dollar you put toward that loan is earning you a guaranteed 22% return. Is it the dental work you've been ignoring? Get it fixed now before it becomes a $2,000 emergency. Is it the bulk purchase that will save you money for months? Buy the big pack of toilet paper, the giant detergent, the family size, everything. Step 4. Repeat. Now you have a little more breathing room. Your monthly expenses might be slightly lower because you're not paying as much in premiums. Your stress might be slightly reduced. Do it again. Build the buffer to $1,000, then $2,000, then $5,000. Each dollar in your buffer is a soldier fighting against the poverty premium. Each dollar is freedom. Each dollar is a brick in the fortress wall. Once you have the buffer, once you've stopped the bleeding, you can start playing offense. You can start thinking about wealth, not just survival. Now you can apply the boots theory in reverse. You can buy the good boots. You can buy the reliable car. You can buy the house. You can make decisions based on long-term cost, not short-term price. Invest in skills. With less stress and more time, you can invest in yourself. Learn a new skill. Take a course. Get a certification. Increase your earning potential. This is the highest return investment you can make. Invest in relationships. When you're not constantly panicking about money, you have more emotional bandwidth for the people in your life. Stronger relationships lead to opportunities. They lead to support. They lead to a better life in every dimension. Invest in the future. Now you can think about retirement, about your children's education, about leaving something behind, about breaking the cycle for good. Here's the truth they don't tell you. The system is rigged. It is mathematically more expensive to have less money. That's not an opinion. That's arithmetic. That's the boots theory. That's the poverty premium. That's the overdraft fee. That's the payday loan. That's the rent you'll never own. But here's the other truth. You can fight arithmetic with arithmetic. You can use the math to break the math. You can use the buffer to beat the trap. It starts with understanding that your goal isn't to get rich tomorrow. Your goal isn't to buy a Lamborghini or retire at 40. Your goal is simpler and more urgent. To stop being a sucker. To stop paying the hidden taxes. To stop buying the cheap boots. Every time you make a decision that prioritizes long-term cost over short-term price, you're buying your freedom. You're buying yourself out of the trap. You're building the buffer. You're stacking the bricks. It's slow. It's boring. It's not sexy. There's no crypto pump, no stock tip, no get rich quick scheme. But it works. It has worked for generations. It will work for you. If this video made you think differently about that $5 subscription or that $20 pair of shoes, share it with someone who needs to hear it. We don't talk about this stuff enough because it's uncomfortable. It's easier to talk about winning than about the traps, but uncomfortable conversations are the only ones that change things. Hit subscribe if you want to keep breaking down the hidden mechanics of money. We've got a lot more to cover. We're going to talk about investing, about negotiation, about psychology, about every tool you need to build your buffer and beyond. And remember, the goal isn't to have the most boots, it's to have the ones that last. It's to be dry and comfortable while the world rains. It's to have the freedom to say no to the bad deal, to walk away from the predator, to choose your own path. Thanks for watching. Thanks for staying to the end. I know it was a long one, but this stuff matters. I'll see you in the next one.